This is part 2 of my bikepacking journey on the Caminos del Sol in the south of Spain. So far, I've covered about 200 kilometers, which took me 5 days, during which I climbed up through the mountains from Alicante and rolled back down to the coast in Gandia. The first 2 days of this trip really pushed me, so I took a rest day here in Gandia on Christmas Day. Now I'm recovered, reloaded, and ready for the final stretch of this bikepacking adventure. After 2 nights in a hotel and just a full day's rest, it's time to get cycling again. It's rained all day yesterday and during the night, so I'm a bit scared a lot of the gravel roads and tracks will be very muddy. I am a little bit wary for today because since I'm back at the coast, it means I'm going to spend at least today, the entire day, and maybe even part of tomorrow, just climbing back into the mountains. The descent the day before yesterday was like a really steep zigzag, which was not really that obvious in on my map that it was going to be that steep. So if I'm gonna have something similar riding up into the mountains, I'm not gonna enjoy it. I already know that. But I'm excited again. I was pretty bored yesterday during the rest day where it was just raining, and since it was Christmas Day, there was nothing really to do either. So I am excited to get back into the cycling now. Just around the time where I was really looking out for a potential campsite, I saw probably the farmer of this olive grove. I'm not sure how to call it. And he was just leaving. I don't think the main house is here. There's a building, but I don't think people really live there permanently. But anyway, he was just leaving, so I asked if I could camp just at the edge of the field. And no, he asked for how long, and for just the one night he said it was fine if I just stay at the edge. At least that's what I understood of it. So I'm just now in the sunshine, which is nice because I'm still around 700 meters up, I think. So when I was in kind of the shade of the mountains, it was pretty chilly. So I'm glad that I'll be able to pitch in the sun and enjoy the sun for a little while. And yeah, today went pretty well. I mean, the majority was just relatively easy cycling with barely any elevation. And then since about probably around 2 p.m. I started really climbing a lot more. And now I'm about 5 kilometers away from the next village, which is from here mainly just downhill over what looks like an easy gravel road. So if I'm lucky, I'll be able to get some coffee there maybe in the morning. And yeah, it's been really good today. I'm really enjoying being back on the bike. So maybe I'm finally becoming a real bike packer. It's yeah, even when I have to push my bike up, I was still enjoying it. Although it hasn't been as steep as those first couple of days. Those were really, really tough. At least that's how I remember it now. But yeah, I'm going to pitch my tent, put on some warmer clothes, and then just make my dinner. I have noodles again, and yeah, just enjoy the sunshine on my face, because it's been raining on and off for the majority of the day, so only since an hour or so the sun is kind of coming out a little bit more. So yes, a good day back on the bike. I had a pretty good night here. There was more activity in the evening than I would have thought, with trail runners coming up and down, cars going I don't know where. But once the sun set, it got quite calm and I slept pretty good. I am about 5 kilometers away from a village, so mostly downhill on presumably easy roads. So I'm going to skip my breakfast here to go to a cafe that should be open according to Google Maps and have my breakfast there. I forgot that tomorrow is Sunday, so I need to make sure that I'll get to some sort of grocery store by the end of today, because I'm not sure if I can get any bread and probably dinner on a Sunday. So just to make sure, it should be okay. I think in about 35 kilometers there should be a store that's open until like 9:30 in the evening. So I guess that one I should be able to make it by the end of today. I went into this Elvis bar where I had a coffee. I wasn't sure if I could get breakfast there, although in hindsight I could have because there were tables reserved for like 9:30 and 10 a.m. So you'd only do that if you were expecting food, right? But anyway, I just had a coffee also because I couldn't see my bike and because there were not really any windows to be honest. So I just had a quick coffee and now I'm sat just around the corner on a square and I have my bread and cheese now for my breakfast. And yeah, so it was still good to make a short detour to get a coffee, I guess. But yeah, it wasn't exactly what I had expected, but that's okay. It's still pretty early. It's not as cold today, probably because of the clouds, but it should be a good day today. It's only 3:30, but I'm kind of done for the day. I've cycled 50 kilometers, which is pretty good, and I'm about 5 kilometers away from the next town, and after that there's climbing again, and I just don't want to do that anymore today. So just when I was thinking maybe I should go into the town, sit there somewhere warm because it is quite chilly. And then just around 6 o'clock cycle for 20 minutes or so to find a place. Just when I was kind of resigned to do that, I came across this area which I'm not sure if it's like an bivouac area or if it's kind of like a scouting site or maybe it's an official campsite but just closed for the season. I'm not sure, but I think I'm gonna camp here. I'm not gonna pitch my tent yet. I'm just gonna sit here, read a little. Hopefully I'm not gonna get too cold. And also I just want to check, if people are coming by, if so who, because the whole trail I've cycled for the past 10 kilometers or so. It was a proper dirt road, gravel road, and definitely signs of dirt bikes. So I just want to make sure I'm not gonna feel a bit weird during the night here. It's around 8:30 and I had another good night's sleep. It is still chilly or just cold, and it rained a little bit in the morning, which is why I'm just taking my time getting ready. It's also going to rain a bit more today, like hopefully more like drizzle rather than real rain. But it's supposed to be dry for another 2 hours or so. So I'm going to make some coffee, pack up, then ride down into the village, have another coffee there, and warm up a little. My toes are so cold, they've been freezing all night. I didn't really pack any warm socks because I didn't think I'd need them. So yes, a coffee will be good. I have some bread left over, and even though it's Sunday today, the shops I'm going to pass today are open. It was just the one yesterday that was closing. That closes on Sundays, but I cycled a lot more than I thought I would, so that's good. So the expectation is now 2 more days of cycling, and then I should reach Alicante again. Again at one of those free campsite bivouac areas, and it's only 3:30, but I kind of like the idea of staying here. There's even a toilet block here that's open, and I'm about 50 kilometers from Alicante, and I've done all the major climbing. I've just come up and over one very steep section again. And it really feels a lot more in the mountains now since kind of lunchtime when I left, what was that town called? Peter or something? I didn't go into that town, but I passed by. And after that, it's been climbing and really more into the mountains. So I'm just going to rest a little. Hopefully it's not gonna cool off too much. but it's pretty calm. There's been thunder behind me a lot, like I could hear it and see very dark clouds, but luckily I've only had the drizzle here and there. So the morning was again a little bit boring, a lot of towns and kind of industrial areas, and not, it was okay, but not the most scenic. But I think this last section again, properly in the mountains, is going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot more challenging, but I do like the mountain cycling a lot more. My last morning on the Caminos del Sol, I had a very calm night again. It is a little earlier than usual, it's about 8 o'clock, and I've just made myself a coffee. Just because I woke up and I figured it's not very useful to go back to sleep for just 30 minutes or so. And I want to make sure that I get to Alicante around 4 p.m. That's the plan. And it's a 50-kilometer, but mostly downhill ride. And in about 20 kilometers, I'll get to the last village. I think it was called Tbilisi, something like that, where hopefully I'll be able to get a coffee. I do need to get lunch, so I need to get some bread and cheese. I'm going to have my coffee now, have my last bread for breakfast, and then start packing up. It is almost 9 o'clock and I'm all packed up and ready to go. Everything is wet and sandy because it rained quite a lot last night and there was some heavy thunderstorms. They were far away enough that I felt perfectly safe, but because of the surrounding mountains, the sound was just so loud and like it just kept echoing. It was really cool to hear, but it didn't didn't help with the sleep. Now it's dry. This is the first place where I actually have no reception at all, so I haven't been able to check the weather for today. It looks overcast and a bit rainish clouds, but nothing too serious. So hopefully I'll stay dry on this last day of my bikepacking trip. I've been to the grocery store to get some lunch, but there wasn't really any cafe either open or that looked nice. There was one right across from the grocery store, but it looked a bit strange, so I didn't go in. Instead, I just got something to drink here in the village square, I guess, that I'm at. And there is about 6 kilometers remaining of the official loop. The remaining 25-ish kilometers will be just in the direction of Alicante, similar in a lot of places to the route that I took on my very first day. So I'm getting closer and closer, and it's been really nice. I've been cycling for a long way along this Via Verde, which is 22 kilometers in total, and I cycled about 8 kilometers of it. And it could have explained it in Spanish, but I'm not sure. But it looks like it was a railway line before, because there was loads of tunnels, pretty long and dark, and it was a really straight road, which was really cool. So I have about 6 more mountainy kilometers, and then it's really about going back into Alicante. I made it back to the coast in Alicante, and it's very busy and it's very hot, and I'm going to find a nice cafe to sit and just enjoy my accomplishment before heading to my kind of like a guest house where I'll be staying for a couple of days.